Welcome back. We are the Political Insiders here in New York. I'm John LeBoutelier here with Pat Goodell and Doug Schoen. And over the weekend, an interview was broadcast with the President Obama, claiming that it is possible that in the long run, Iran could be a force for good in the Middle East. Look, this hasn't gotten much comment from people other than us privately. Your thoughts?
Look, we've been saying for the last year and a half, as these negotiations have gone on, that the idea of the U.S. throwing in with Iran, throwing in with Cuba, is disastrously and dangerously wrong. Pat has been particularly eloquent and I dare say loquacious on the subject, which I think is to the good. Because here's what I call the bottom line. We can't trust the Iranians. We've got a deal that is going to give them 10 years to avowedly go nuclear. We have a limited right of inspection. We have no history on what they've been doing, so we have no basis to evaluate their program. This is very, very scary. Now we're being told by the president they're the force for good and peace in the Middle East. Goodness gracious, I'm scared to death.
You should be, and you're right. You're absolutely right, Doug. And we are already seeing evidence that the Iranians are cheating. They have not
since the agreement.
Since the agreement, the agreement ink wasn't even dry when the head of the Quds force, Soleimani, who killed about 500 Americans, ends up in Moscow.
He's a force for global terror.
And there are sanctions on him. Exactly, the idea. There are sanctions on him that he's not supposed to travel. Shows up in Moscow visiting President Putin, among others, the defense minister. Meanwhile, the Chinese and the Russians are going to sell nuclear reactors to Iran. And worse, even worse, the scientists, they still refuse to make the scientists available to explain Iran's military past on nuclear weapons, all of which is a violation of the agreement. And no one will talk about that except a president, let me just say, except a president who has made the most vile, vicious slanders against people who oppose him, including Chuck Schumer's courageous action this week. All of a sudden, he's being attacked.
Oh my God!
Viciously.
They even say he shouldn't be the next Democratic leader of the Senate.
They say he wants war.
Right, and he's in with the hardliners in Iran.
You're right. And all of the Republicans, all of us are in bed with the Death to America hardliners. This president has operated in Iran thanks to Valerie Jarrett, his chief aide who was born there, in a mindset that is so scary about what Iran is. Neville Chamberlain didn't even think the Nazis were this bad after Munich.
Do you guys think it's possible that Schumer, because I'm a little disappointed in Schumer, I'm glad he came out the way he did, but he did it during the debate on Thursday night.
No, I've now learned that's not the case. What happened is—
the White House leaked it out.
The White House leaked it.
Okay. But Schumer usually gets Senator Gillibrand to vote the way he wants, and she came out against for the deal. Is he going to do anything to really work to try to get 13
John,
Democrats?
I thought in the beginning being Thursday and Friday, that he would make his announcement and that would be that. The attack on him has been so aggressive that I think it has forced his hand in a way that I had not.
I think he now becomes the possibility that he becomes the statesman of the hour. Now, I never thought I'd say this about Chuck Schumer, but his courage, you read his statement, it's a serious statement. It's not about Israel, it's about all of the problems with this agreement. It's a thoughtful statement. And for the White House and the nuts to trash him, the move on, as they are. And by the way, let me just name the warmongers. Let's remember who the warmongers are that the president said in Iraq. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton,
John Kerry,
and a whole bunch of them.
Right. In other words, if they voted for the war in Iraq in 2002, and they're opposing this agreement, they're totally bad news.
Right, but they're warmongers.
Yeah. All right, we only have less than a minute. Very quickly, it's August 10th when we tape this segment. The vote in the House and Senate will be mid-September. Do either of you think there's a chance to get enough Democrats, 44 in the House, 13 in the Senate, to override a presidential veto?
No, I do not think that will happen. I think the President of the United States has enough power and strength of will that he will get the votes. And I think we will look terrible as a nation to have a resolution of disapproval passed by both houses, which I think will happen, then have it vetoed, and then have the veto not overridden.
By the narrowest of margins.
Narrowest of margins.
At best. But I still think we haven't heard everything. There is now going to be momentum. The public momentum is against this and getting worse.
Right.
And I think we'll see. I think there are dynamics here.
Right, and as we end this segment, Pat has been telling us that the more the public learns about the facts of the deal, the more the disapproval number goes up. So in the next 5 weeks, maybe they'll learn more, and maybe if there is a secret
And we will be
side,
talking more about it and
Right.
the polls and the politics of this deal.
But Doug, if there is a secret side agreement, which we haven't mentioned in this segment, and that were to be uncovered before the vote,
be-
That could do it.
change
That would
the
be
whole
the-
thing.
Yes.
That would be the
And
end.
don't we know there's secret side
They
agreements?
will not deny it.
Exactly. All right, more on that to come. By the way, this show predicted secret side agreements a year ago.
You did, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
For Doug Schoen, join us Sunday night with Harris Faulkner at 7:30. We will be talking about this. For Pat and Doug, I'm John LeBoutelier. Have a great week.